Geetha Sadhana Sopaana, Steps to Self-Realization as taught in the Bhagavad Gita by Sri Swami AtmaanandEndra Saraswatee. In this, today we are going to see conclusion regarding yoga. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. We hope that the above discussion makes it clear that the word yoga, when used without any qualifying prefix, refers to naishkarmya, actionlessness, except where the context evidently demands a different meaning. 2 points have been declared as being pivotal for the attainment of actionlessness. The first is that passivity will not lead to actionlessness, naishkarmya. The obvious reason being that passivity, being the cause of tamas, will take the person away from knowledge. Nor can one reach the culmination of naishkarmya by merely dropping karmas before reaching the stage when their performance becomes immaterial and inconsequential. Hence, contrary to the apparent literal meaning, the real import of naishkarmya or sannyasa, renunciation, is the performance of karma with absolutely no attachment, so that even while the karma is in progress, no feeling of agency or kartrutva, doership, for it arises in the person. Both non commencement of karma as well as the giving up of karma constitute confused and deceitful conduct, since not a minute passes without a person having to perform the bodily functions. And worse still, even when the functional senses are quiet, the mind may be furiously active. Nahi कश्चित् जातु तिष्ठत्यकर्मकृत्. Bhagavad Gita 3, 3rd chapter, 5 and 6, 5th and 6th shlokas. So, continued action alone, nirantara karma, in conjunction with discrimination, viveka or buddhi, can lead to the state of non-action, naishkarmya, as opposed to merely withdrawing from action, karma sannyasa or karma tyaga. The second point is to understand the necessity of devotion to the Lord at all stages of the activity, starting with the volition to do an action right up to the point of enjoying the fruit of that action. A complete detachment is imperative, and this becomes possible only when the karma is performed as worship to the Lord. This shows that performing karma not anticipating the result, which is known as nishkama karma, not desiring the fruit of the karma, is not the same as naishkarmya, actionlessness. Though for various reasons, some later commentators have tried to establish such an identity. By not desiring the fruit of the karma, one is prevented from losing one's nature as a human being and becoming what the Lord calls karpanyam, wretched. But the result of the actions will still have to be gone through whether they are performed with a desire for the fruit or not. In contrast to performing action without a desire for the fruit, naishkarmya karma takes away even the result of the action, because now the sense of agency has left, and therefore even the idea of taking rebirth for the enjoyment of that karma is out of the question. The insistence is therefore on the absence in the mind of any identification with the action or the fruit of it, rather than the mere physical renunciation of action. It should be clear that the emphasis is on the freedom from the involvement of the mind while the functional senses continue to act. The withdrawal of the senses from activity while the mind continues to be active is declared to be hypocrisy. As long as the sense objects are present, the senses are bound to run after them, dragging the mind outward. So, it is by means of the mind alone that either the senses have to be delinked from the mind so that the channels feeding it will be dried up as the objects withdraw, or the senses themselves are to be kept under control. The former is attempted by the discrimination that a particular guna, quality, in the sense organ seeks its counterpart in the object which is natural for it. That being so, there is no need for us to get involved in the process at all. The latter is accomplished by the control of or detaching the senses from their objects. There is little doubt that no one is free from this drive to seek happiness, though individually each may differ about the connotation of and the expectation from the word happiness. Nobody need deny that an ordinary person seeking happiness in sense objects does in fact enjoy himself when the object sought is secured. But a little reflection by a discriminating person will show that it is not in the nature of these objects to provide lasting happiness, since that type of happiness is neither uniform at all times to the same person, nor universal to all persons to the same extent. Effort is needed to acquire that type of happiness, and what is secured will have to be protected because the fear of losing it will be constantly eating into the mind. When that happiness is lost or exhausted, the resulting unhappiness becomes obvious. So, while sense objects may appear to produce happiness, in reality, that type of happiness is no happiness at all. In fact, the happiness derived from the sense objects is declared in the Gita to be the very womb of unhappiness. The control of mind is therefore essential for one pursuing yoga because as long as the mind is being dragged outward in a thousand directions by desires, equanimity is impossible. Without equipoise, yoga is unattainable. One can thus understand the anguish of Arjuna when he admits to the Lord that he sees no way of maintaining stability in yoga that has been taught in the form of equanimity. Hence, the only way to attain yoga is to take the mind away from worldly desires and to immerse it in and pickle it with the devotion to the Lord. In the ninth chapter, there is the mention of great souls, Mahatmas, who, knowing the indestructible God, the cause of all beings, worship with one pointedness. They constantly sing about Him, submit to Him with unswerving devotion, and are constantly united with Him through yoga. The Lord declares some worship Him through Jnana Yajna, the sacrifice of knowledge, as the one Brahman. Others adopting some single substitute for him to do their worship, and still others worship him in manifold ways. In some places, there is a clear injunction to perform karma, while in other places, the karmas are decreed as not helpful for attaining samadhi. Equanimity of mind is samadhi. In some places, attaining Brahmaloka, the world of the Creator, is praised, while in other places, knowing of God is said to be the cause of the final freedom from birth, thus rejecting any other higher achievement like attaining Brahmaloka, etc. And again, in some other places, there is an indication that God alone can put one across the ocean of samsara. At some places, the text seems to indicate that liberation can result while living, and in other places, it seems to indicate that it results after casting of the body. With regard to the above seeming contradictions, it should be noted that all of our previous actions, their fruits in the form of the present body, etc., are referred to as prarabdha karma, agency, as well as the experience of the fruits of actions, are all things that one is aware of and therefore cannot be one's true nature. This conclusion rests on the experimental fact that the subject of experience cannot be the object of that experience. Those who have associated themselves with the nature, Prakriti, the ignorant people identify the so called wise man with the collection of the mind, body, etc., with which he has attained his wisdom. While before this state, even the wise man was aware of the collection of the body, senses, mind, ego, etc. But after the dawn of the wisdom, he is no longer even aware of them. Since there is only one self, there is nothing other than him to be aware of. Nobody remains as perceiver, nor are there any instruments of knowledge with which he could be aware of something. Just as a person is aware of his waking body and its life functions that are going on before going to sleep, he is not aware of the body or its functions during his sleep, even though they continue from the point of view of those still awake. This is the true meaning of Naishkarmya, the true meaning of the one yoga taught in the Gita. Next, we shall discuss about examination of Karma Yoga. That in the next session. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Sadguru Charanarpitamastu Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Sajjana Santu Nirbhayaha, Om Tat Sat, Shri Krishna Arpanam.